Yeah, so look, I this was probably the first episode of the week that I didn't, either completely love or I felt like, oh, okay, y'all just forcing tension in here for no good reason because seeing the camaraderie amongst, those in the Dupree household right now, it was great. And it just felt like, oh, we got to throw a wrench in here somewhere in order to cause some tension. And it just felt like, given the circumstance, did we really need to see them turn against Bill? And it's not Ted's fault that Nicole got served in the midst of a family crisis, but I don't know. I just think that new Ted is like, I don't know. It's like they say that turtleneck. Ever since that turtleneck disappeared, like his swagger went with it. It's like we don't know this person. So yeah, I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. But then again, I was going to give it an 8, but based off of what Bill did to Leslie at the end, rather than a 15 like all the other episodes, I'll give this one a solid 10 out of 10. Now, Danny is on the couch just like full of worry, and I think something that fans have pointed out is like, Danny is depressed because she was wearing jeans in this episode, and I don't think we've ever seen Danny wearing jeans, showcasing that, oh man, she's going through it right now. And it's been a full night. They don't know where Chelsea is, and the longer that she's gone, and this is some real stuff, and it sucks, but the longer a person is missing, the less the odds will be that they'll be found. But thankfully, it's only been one night rather than like a whole week, even though in our time it's close to a week. So, Vernon is like, look, the FBI is on this. And, I mean, I thought we would be flooded with tips right now rather than false leads. But that, honestly, is sad but real because more often than not in a celebrity profile case, most people feel like it's their time to throw their hat in the ring and then give false tips. It's messed up, but you know how people are attention whores nowadays. But that's when Naomi rushes in and she's all excited because of the break that they have in the case right now. And Anita's on a phone call with a missing persons organization. And from there, they learn that Jacob got a warrant to check out Allison's credit card purchases, which is great. Because I said this in my last review. She told Chelsea she was going out for some dinner, and I'm like, if she uses that card, there's a good chance, they can get on her trail. Now, Nicole actually pops up with some papers, and she got served, and the whole mood shifts because Ted is trying to delay their divorce, asking for a full audit to make sure everything is split 50-50. That's fair. But then it turns out Bill is the one representing him, and then everybody glares at the quote-unquote fixer, and they start going in on him about being so inconsiderate. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I agreed to help Ted way before this whole, my daughter went disappearing. All right, I'm sorry, but I'm just doing my job. And if it wasn't me, Ted would have just went to someone else anyway. Which, if memory serves, didn't Bill refer Ted to someone else? I don't know. And he's like, well, look, Ted still loves you, Nicole, and that's why he's trying to just stall these procedures. This is his way of like putting, road bumps to the path to divorce. And then that's when Vernon glares at him. Then Nicole reminds her, like, look, I'm the family fixer now. Nicole, I love you, but sit your behind down. You ain't fixing shit. I'm sorry. I just felt mad watching this. I'm like, really? Are we really doing this now? And I'm just like, everybody just starts going in on Bill, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I swear. My bad. I'm mad when I curse, and I don't like to do it in my reviews because I like the, being family friendly for the most part. But I was really pissed off. I really was. So Vernon actually stops the tension. Like, hey, I know, all right, now Chelsea's missing and the emotions are high, but to be fair, Vernon, even if she wasn't missing, they'd still jump down Bill's throat. But I'm just mad that it's like this. He's dealing with a lot more than a divorce right now, okay? Nicole, you're the one who filed for it, and you had every right to do so. But don't act like, this is the time for that. But then again, like I said, Ted didn't know. about it. I don't know. I just felt some kind of way. Now, over at the house, you got Kat, entitled as always, trying to tell Jacob that, hey, you know what? I like to file a complaint against the police officer who left fingerprint dust around here. And he's like, look, I'm sorry about that. But he tells her that I was able to get a warrant so we could track Allison's online purchases. And also found the address of the place where she could be holding Chelsea. And then Kat wants to come, but Jake's like, no, this is an official case. And she keeps begging, and I'm like, I get that's your cousin, but Kat, like, this could be very dangerous. And if something happens to you, that's just... But then again, you know how determined she is. So all I'm saying, and I'm with the fans, like, if Kat were in Chelsea's place right now, oh, heck no. She would have been out there. Either Allison would have been strangled or Kat would have, found a way out of there because, kitty cat got claws. Now, later on, look, why don't you take your own car to your grandparents' house and then I'll go check on the investigation to see how it's going. And after that, I used the warrant and tried picking the lock to gain, access to that address, the home at the address I went to, but Allison wasn't there. And Kat actually got a key from a storage unit that she found over at Allison's place. And I know I screwed up the chain of evidence, but you never know. This could be some evidence we can use, so we better get going. So they look at some papers in a flash drive, which included the fan fictions or fantasies that, fan fiction. So essentially, Allison wrote these fan fiction articles and blogs about her and Chelsea, and they go back several years. So this has been deranged in planning in the making. Now, Allison wakes up Chelsea, and she's wearing a wedding gown, and she tickles her with a feather and said, "Hey, silly, we're getting married." And Chelsea's like, "Yeah, no. And you're married to Craig." Well, that's when Allison's, "Yeah, so he was actually an escort, and yeah, it wasn't what you thought." Wait, what? So you played hard to get by pushing me away, remember? And it's like you said in that one video. So then Allison starts singing, and Chelsea's like, what's that song you're dancing to? Yeah, it was a song she was dancing to. It was a social media trend. And look, if you don't dance or you don't marry me, I'm going to kill Madison if you don't. So, well, we need to go to the courthouse, and Allison's already ordained. God will be their witness. I went to seminary. I'm not ordained, though. I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. I got to look into it, but I don't think that's how it works. So, Allison, considering how Chelsea's being non-negotiable right now, she pulls out, remember that parting knife she had? This time she pulls out a big Lifetime movie turkey carving knife, and Chelsea's like, "Fine, I accept your proposal, but you can't marry me looking busted." And that's when she puts lipstick on her and a veil. And then, I ain't gonna lie, this was some funny stuff. I felt bad for laughing, but the fact that Allison started marching from across the cabin with the wedding march song playing on her phone. She's like, "This home is going to be a sanctuary, and you'll be by my side, and I'll be by your side every minute of every day. And I'll treat you the way you treat me, and to bring values that she was raised with into our marriage." And then Allison cries happy tears and goes, "Oh, we're wife and wife." Because I think like Chelsea's reading off some fan fiction vows. Man, it's some sick stuff. So we go over to the hospital for the first time in a while. And Shanice is like, "Wait, why are you at work?" And Madison's like, "I'm just trying to distance myself and distract myself because yeah, it makes sense. I mean, no good sitting around crying. You got to kind of get out of your funk." Very similar to what's going on in Sisters right now. Now, she goes to check on Derek, who's like, pushing himself through physical therapy. Ashley's in there watching over him to make sure he doesn't do too much. And she's happy that Madison's happy that they have each other. And then Shanice actually has to step in because Derek feels like, "Look, I'm not a wuss, okay?" and I'll rest when I'm dead. So he keeps doing some more, and then Ashley's like, oh, okay, that's enough. And then he's like, well, I don't know. It's like, how will people look at me if I can't ever walk again? I want to be honest. I think he will walk again. It's going to be a struggle, but I think the man got some fight in him. Now, that's when Madison and Shanice are over at the nursing hub, and they talk for a bit. And Anita texted Madison to let her know, you're welcome to drop by the home anytime you want. And at the moment, there's no news, but she feels it's like, and look, I know people don't trust Madison. It's kind of like she just popped out of nowhere, and all of a sudden her and Chelsea are really, really close. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it feels like Chelsea and I have known each other forever, and it's like there's a vision of me and her one day getting married and starting a family, and then she starts crying saying that she'll never see her again. And I'm like, giving some Madison vibes here. I mean, at least with Madison, this was years in the making, but then again, I don't know. It's like, I guess when you find your person, you find your person. But speaking of persons that have lost their person, we go over to the country club, and Andre's talking with his uncle Ted about the situation about Chelsea. And Ted wishes he could be there to support Nicole, but Andre's like, yeah, you know what? Rather than doing that, I think the best thing you could do, if you can, finding Chelsea will probably be the best way to impress the Duprees, specifically your wife right now. Ted feels like, man, I wish I knew something because I don't know. And that's when Andre's like, look, at this point, I don't think you should try getting back with Aunt Nicole. So that's when he brings up his own re-situationship with Danny, and this whole Chelsea thing is deepening their connection. But I kind of disagree with that, because it's like, at the same time, Andre feels that him and Danny might be reconnecting over the Chelsea thing. That's kind of off-put by her reconnecting with Bill. That's just my opinion. Now, Ted's like, well, you know what? You should try to connect with Nicole during her time of crisis as well. Or Ted feels he should do that with Nicole. My bad. But then we go over to the other side of the country club where Leslie and Eva talk to Vanessa about the house. And she wants to paint the outside of this house magenta to show the neighborhood that the new queen bee has appeared. And Eva's like, don't you think it's going to piss people off, especially the Duprees right across the street? And, well, here's the thing. The family insists on a 90-day escrow, meaning that you can't move in right away, but the house is yours. And that's when Vanessa urges Leslie to look for another house in case you want to move sooner. And Leslie's like, well, aren't you a precious little Barbie? So Eva's like, look, don't burn through your money, all right? And she's like, look, I get money every 6 months. It's like a job with steady paychecks, but without all the annoying work. And Eva's right. I feel like that's going to be Leslie's downfall. She's going to burn through this money. And I'm not saying that the articulates aren't going to generate more and more funds, but I just feel like, what's that saying? Like, don't get the cart before the horses or something like that. Like, you're spending all this money and you don't know how big. Look, this was $1 million, but you don't know if the checks are going to get bigger or if they're going to get smaller, but I don't know. So from there, Eva says, like, look, name one thing Fairmount Crest has that no other community does. And Leslie points over at Ted talking with Andre, and Eva's like, we can just move somewhere and make actual friends. But hey, I got Mona and Jan. And I'm like, wait, if memory serves, don't they still dislike her? And even Eva thankfully said what I was thinking. They hate you. So that's when Leslie walks by Ted as she goes to get like a, what do you call it? A pickleball outfit. I didn't even know what that was until earlier this year, pickleball. So that's when Bill sends Ted a text to say, yeah, in case you're trying to think about coming over here to comfort Nicole during the family crisis, now isn't the time, because Nicole just got served those delay on the divorce papers, so stay away. Bad timing. Dang it. So from there, Eva talks to Ted about the Nicole situation and Chelsea. And Eva doesn't want to cause more strife and asks Ted to help in stopping her mom from buying a house in the neighborhood. And she's like, well, look, Ted, you're the only one who could stop her since she listens to you. And Ted is like, well, maybe if I could do that, Nicole might be grateful. And somebody online said this, and it might be true. Maybe on some level, Eva wants her parents together. And this could be a way for Ted to earn brownie points with Nicole that, well, I can't comfort her over the Chelsea thing, but the least I can do is try to stop Leslie from causing daily havoc to the Dupree family on a daily basis. So this is the second best thing he could do. Now, Vanessa stops by the Duprees to tell them about the 90-day clause that won't allow Leslie to move in right away. And Bill's like, oh, okay, that's some good stuff. And Danny's like, well, are there any other loopholes they can find to make sure Leslie can't move? And this is when she demands Bill find some kind of loophole because you owe Nicole. No, he don't. So then Andre pops up to tell Danny, look, I'm here for you. And she talks about how Chelsea is her mini-me. And I think that's adorable because that's very accurate. And she starts getting emotional and upset. And as he tries to hug her, she's like, no. And, that's when she finally relents because she's trying to be strong and independent. But Andre holds her and then she breaks down. So then we have my favorite part of the episode where Anita leads a family prayer to find Chelsea home, bring her home safe. That was great. That was some good stuff. Now, finally, that's when we got Bill stopping over by Leslie's. And I love how the disgraced former ex-husbands, well, Ted is soon to be ex-husband of the Dupree girls, both are working against Leslie right now. So while she's at home parading with her pickleball outfit, Bill stops by to tell her to stay away from the Duprees for good. And they don't want you in the neighborhood. And I'm thinking to myself, Bill, they didn't want you and your child brought in the neighborhood either. But so when she refuses, he reminds her of how far he's willing to go to protect his clients. So after he leaves, she was shook. And that's good stuff because remember, like she said in Wednesday's episode, the years of fear of Bill or whoever coming after her and her daughter based off his threats. So even though she got money now, that's not protecting her from her own PTSD. So overall, solid episode. Didn't like the back and forth that the family had with Bill. Ted be tripping. And yeah, good stuff. So hopefully Friday is a banger. Well, today is a banger because I believe there's no new episode next week. But like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.